Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into whatever the story of Leo's world is right now. We've got the Temperance upright for our central card. This is a Leo who's kind of at peace. The way they really are living their life is authentic for how they feel internally. They seem to be pretty calm. This is a Leo that maybe has managed their stress levels really well. As I say that, what crosses it is stress, Nine of Swords. But I almost feel like the way Leo is looking at stress, you notice that we have these wind turbines, and it's like everything that comes at me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture it. I'm going to let it become fuel for change. I'll turn it into something else. Negative experiences, problems, obstacles, everything. It's almost like Leo's become very zen. It's as if they're saying, like, what I've learned is everything that comes into my life was perhaps supposed to be in my big old stew pot. So let me figure out how to adjust to it, welcome it in, work with it, turn it into something else. I kind of think that, when we cook sometimes and we're trying to make a recipe and maybe we do something wrong, but then we go, well, actually, let me see if I can salvage this. Say we overbake something or forget an ingredient, and instead of having soft, puffy cookies, we get crunchy cookies, and now we call it brittle. And, it's like, I feel like Leo's under the impression that stresses that come into their life are almost things not to be feared, but things to say, okay, this is in the mixture for a reason. This is going to be transformative. I'm going to learn to work with it, or I'm going to, instead of thinking like this is awful and I'm going to give my energy to the negative thought, I'm going to take it and I'm going to extract the ideas or the power that I can out of this and make it work for me. We have got a Nine of Wands kind of the kind of like the motive for everything right now in Leo's life. It's about, I think Leo has healed pretty profoundly. I don't know what Leo went through, but I'm thinking it was probably pretty rough. It was pretty bad. And Leo has reached that point where not much scares them anymore because they've already been, down to the bottom of the barrel, and then they've healed themselves and they faced some of the worst stuff in their life. And now it's kind of like, I just don't scare that easy. I just don't really feel like I can't get through stuff because I've already, if you knew what I've come through already, you would know why I'm pretty unshakable. This Leo just they don't really flinch. They're quite healed, not 100%, but this is like a truly powerful, I'm going to say almost like battle weary. I could picture that this Leo has been someone, let's say that this is a battle tested warrior. Okay, that's the best way I would say. And maybe this Leo has literally like served in the military. Maybe they have seen huge conflict. Maybe they have, gone through enough difficulties in life. There's conflict all in all areas of life, right? It doesn't have to be a battle to still be a battlefield. But whatever Leo has gone through, they're very calm. What was Leo's recent past like? Five of Swords. It was ugly. It was messy. It was painful. Leo may have been very bitter for a while, very angry even. They may have felt like season after season, I keep getting cheated, month after month or year after year. Leo may have had a 5-year stretch of just craptastic day after day, like every year just had more difficulties. Things weren't blooming, trees weren't treeing. It was just, how did Leo handle that? Hang on, I feel like we should look at that because obviously to have had something so harsh in the recent past, and I do think Leo was mad. That Five of Swords can be big mad, big angry. So it had something to do with the Ten of Cups. It could be that Leo, had a massive falling out with someone that they thought was supposed to be their forever person, their great happiness. Seven of Wands and the Star. It feels like Leo had to block somebody or was blocked from having the person that they wanted above all others, or Leo actually had to block that person. And once upon a time, that person was Leo's wish come true. Here's the thing. I don't know if Leo knew this about themselves, but Leo is actually the star in this case. Now, Leo could have been dealing with an Aquarius, perhaps, but I don't think so. I get this as if it's Leo is the star. The reason maybe Leo had to put up a blockage is because whomever they would have given like their whole heart and soul to might not have been worthy of that. I know how rude that sounds, but they might not have been worthy of that. Eight of Swords, I feel like whoever it was, they weren't really opening up to Leo. They might have been trapped someplace else. They might have been stuck in their head, stuck on something, some other thoughts. But with this Eight of Swords, whomever Leo thought their great love was, their great love either was too otherwise snagged by something else. It, I don't know. To me, this feels like we're describing a Leo who was angry about, almost like not even angry at the person, but angry about why would I have something dangled in front of me that I thought was going to make me so happy, only to say, oh, yeah, but I can't have it. Or it's not a person who can open up to me, or it's someone that's going to be kept out of my reach, or it's someone who we started out so good and then they kind of decided that they were still stuck someplace else. Universe, why would you even throw that into the mix? Why'd I have to even go through that? That's what it feels like. Like Leo had that anger to work through. But my original question is like, what was it that they worked through? How'd they do it? And what we just saw is what the recent past was. How did Leo, because Leo's in such a great calm space. Let me go to the higher perspective here. I think that's going to give us more insight into how Leo worked through this. Three of Pentacles. So Leo has definitely taken on this very Zen perspective where they've been able to say, I went through a really awful experience. Awful, especially because it was supposed to have been so good and then it turned out so bad. But I also have learned that, look, the timeline of life, it's like future, present, and past. Sometimes we got to look at timelines a little bit differently. This is Leo saying there have been lessons where once something's already happened, it's now actually already just a memory. So once this person either didn't join Leo or Leo actually had to put up a blockage or something to keep them out of Leo's life because they were not who Leo thought they were, or they weren't able to join Leo, it's like once that bridge had already been crossed, it was already like old news, old hat. And living in the past, even the past of 2 minutes ago, there's not really much value in that. Instead, take the lesson, but move on and keep trying to get into the future as quickly as we can, keep pushing toward the future. With that Three of Pentacles, I think Leo was able to, like acknowledge that what happened was something that it was already done. It was already over, or their reaction, or what happened that was negative, or the blockage that was there. Once that blockage was there, it was like, okay, start putting your energy towards something else, Leo. You know that that's a roadblock with that person. And I'm thinking that Leo discovered that. They discovered how to shift gears. The same way where, say we're driving a car and the road is blocked. We don't get out of our car and start screaming and shouting at the roadblock. We go, okay, well, can't get through here. I'm going to have to find a detour. And we just go on about our business. And I think Leo was able to take that perspective and say, there was a roadblock. I couldn't be with that person who I thought was going to be my everything, instead of staying in anger and bitterness and hurt. Even though I think Leo did languish in that emotion for a while, that anger, that hurt, I think Leo had a real hard time getting out of this. And then they had like an epiphany where it was like, wait a second. This is already done. Why am I living in the past at all? Okay, that is an amazing and progressive way to think. What's in the upcoming future for Leo? Princess of Pentacles. There's a whole garden that's being planted. Princess of Pentacles says that's like the Page of Pentacles. So we have new conversation, new dialogue, new person or people, new opportunities, something grounded, something wonderful, something to, we have a 10 of Wands. We have further relaxation on the future, on the horizon for Leo. We have further like laying down burdens. Leo could start to improve their relationship with a mother figure or a child. If they had conflict at all with like a grown child, they may have a much better relationship with their parent or with their child on the horizon. And again, I think it's because of who Leo is. Leo is someone who's very at peace right now. They're very much done with past emotions and past scenarios. They're just living in the present and living for the future, the excitement of what comes next. We also have a Two of Cups on the horizon. So there is a great romance on the horizon for Leo. There is someone in a very important emotional bond. Can I see more about who that Two of Cups is? Mastery of coins. This could be an earth sign. This could be someone that Leo is going to end up in a solid foundational relationship with, someone they could marry, somebody who they may own property with, someone who perhaps has like a really elegant, really beautiful way. By the way, it could be a same-sex couple, does not have to be. um, Six of Pentacles. We keep seeing someone who's got like a strong spiritual like energy to them as well. Leo has it and so do they, right? We've got this kind of like blossoming lotus flower here as well, and it's someone who would really want to match Leo's energy. So not somebody who's looking for drama and conflict, not somebody who's going to jump into a romance and then be like, oh, wait, I just don't think I can do this, Leo. We have someone very different on the horizon for Leo. Can I just ask, this person who seems to be on the horizon, this Two of Cups, who are they to Leo? Are they someone Leo's ever met? Ace of Cups, I don't know, but there's someone that is going to bring in a love that Leo has never known. No, I've never known love like this before. That song is in my head. Knight of Pentacles. We keep seeing them come in as this consistent and slow moving energy. There's something about a vehicle. They may drive a black car, or they may be someone that Leo has actually known for quite a while. I feel like they move slow and with intention. They may be a mechanic or somebody who works on cars, works on vehicles, but they're very, very nurturing. It doesn't matter if they're masculine or feminine. Right on that Mastery of Coins, it's actually a King of Coins card, even though they put a feminine on it. So this could be somebody who's very, very nurturing. They do move slow. This could be somebody that Leo has known for, in this case, 9 years or more. They could be nervous about revealing how they feel about Leo to Leo. They may have fallen for Leo some time ago, but there's someone who moves really slowly, just the way, flowers blossom slowly. This is a relationship that has come up, like over time, it has become something really valuable to the two of them. Nine of Cups is sideways. I don't know if they've been single the entire time that they've known Leo, but I think they've been single for quite a while. I think they haven't quite known what was going on with Leo, though. Because this is a slow evolving relationship, I would say that Leo and this person have never dated. I think that they know of each other, but I think that it could even be like friends or neighbors for a long time. Like I said, it could be a mechanic that Leo goes to, or someone's business that they've patronized. So they've known Leo over the course of many years. Maybe Leo works as a barista, or a wine steward, or works in a restaurant or something, and it's like, oh yeah, I've lived in this town for a long time, so and so, oh, my whole family knows so and so, they've been coming in here to eat for a lot of years, I've waited tables on them or poured them so many drinks over the years. It could be that Leo has worked in an industry and they've patronized that business, but they've known Leo for a long time, is what it says. This person is someone very special on the horizon for Leo's life, but Leo could never have been ready to be with this person had they not gotten into this really calm space in their own head and heart. If Leo hadn't shifted into that Sagittarian energy of the Temperance, if they hadn't let go of something really painful that happened to them in the past, Leo couldn't be where they are today, and they wouldn't be ready for this Two of Cups. What is the outcome for Leo? Nine of Pentacles. Extreme amount of obviously happiness, and we have the Sun. I think Leo season is going to be freaking fantastic for this Leo. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be powerful. It's going to be warm. It's going to be delightful. It's going to be loving. Eight of Cups. Yin Yang energy is here. This card did come out a little tilted, so we'll keep that in mind. But this is Leo walking away from conflicts, not being afraid of storms or things being dull, but living somewhere right in the sweet spot where it's like, I just feel abundant. I just feel like I don't expect life to be perfect, but I may just have a person beside me that's a really lovely compliment, and together we'll face whatever it is. Some days will be good, some days will be bad, but I think it'll work out really well. I see only the sun. I see only clarity and happiness. This looks amazing. This looks very powerful. Is there any, we'll say, blockage on the horizon? We have the Hanged Man, but in the reverse. If anything, it's not a blockage. It's that things might happen a little too fast. This could all speed up. This is Year of the Snake, which, by the way, Arcade Fire just put out a song. I think it broke today, the Year of the Snake. And it's something in the lyrics was like, if it feels strange, it's a season of change, and if it feels strange, then it's probably good. I think it's the lyric on that. It's a great song. But yeah, with this being Year of the Snake, it says there's no waiting, there's no delays. Changes are going to happen fast. And I think that that's a really great message on this. I think it's just that Leo's life could shift quite suddenly. These energies of, I don't think that Leo's life is going to be all smooth sailing. Not when we see them saying, oh, I expect obstacles and problems. And even here with the yin yang in the middle of the stormy sea or the calm pool, I think that Leo has lots of adventure on the horizon. They'll have good and bad. They'll have trials and tribulations. But the thing is, Leo's going to end up having a partner to face all that with. And somehow it's going to feel more like, if you're going on a rafting trip and you're like, oh, I love to be out on the river. It's so relaxing. But then you hit rapids and it's like, ooh, that was invigorating. It could also be really freaking scary. But somehow when you're okay with the rapids too, and when you're in a boat with the person that you want to be with, who's got your back and you've got theirs, and they're stable and you're stable, you notice that that's the underlying thing, is that Leo is in a very stable energy. And so too is this mate of theirs. Their King of Pentacles is very stable as an influence in Leo's life. I don't know if Leo's ever had somebody who was that consistent, that strong, that powerful, that Leo could count on them. They could have dark hair, by the way. Leo may also. We had a lot of dark-haired beauties and dark-haired people in this. I do think that Leo might be a little bit surprised that their Two of Cups is someone that they've already known for quite a while, though. That could be a bit of a shocker to them. Anyway, beautiful story. I loved this chapter of Leo's Book of Life. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.